Hello and welcome to the catch-up November layout for my Gorjuss. I am sorry I have been so behind on this and I really wanted to get back to it before the end of the year, and so here we are filming November in December. I am using this pretty girl. Her name is Ruby. One of my favorites because she's got a cat, I've got a cat, she's got a great cat, I've got a great cat, so it had to be Ruby. And look how small she is. She looks like a big stamp, but really she's a small stamp. So I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do on the left-hand side of my layout. And I've got this brand new die set from Tim Holtz called Wildflowers, which I ordered from Auntie Vera Scrap and Craft. And I am going to bust them out and try to make a layout. So I'm thinking pretty girl swinging with wildflowers underneath her. Yeah, that sounds right. So I've pulled out, these are like so old, like maybe 5 years old. These are Twinkling H2Os. I love these. These are thick, just gorgeous, water activated pots. They're like luminescent, they're pearlescent. I don't know, they're called Twinkling H2Os, and they're thick and just really lovely, and there's a whole lot of different colors there. I'm going to list the colors below. Like, they have some really funky names like mango and alfalfa and green mustard was one, and yeah, so I'm going to leave everything is going to be down below in the description box, plus the colors that I use here. I am just going to do one of each for now, and just trying to get a lovely range of colors so that they are at the bottom of her feet and on the left hand side of my layout, and just to simulate a beautiful, I guess, scenic layout. Something relaxing, something pretty. So this little girl is out there with her little kitty and just enjoying time together, looking at the world, looking at nature, enjoying being together with her cat. So after I'm done with these, I am going to dry them off, and I'm going to use some Nina Solar White cardstock to stamp Ruby on there with archival ink. I'm using my Stampaholic, just the mini one, and getting an impression there. I've never used her before, so I'm going to need a couple of applications of ink. Then I'm going to grab my Koi Sakura Watercolors, and I am going to go ahead and color her in. I've already kind of been practicing with the little kitten down the bottom. Definitely gray. I have a Russian gray, and we called her Russia. I know, so predictable, right? But we love our gray kitten so much that from now on we've said that we're only going to get Russian blues from now on. So she's gorgeous. The best temperament you can ever ask for a cat. She's chatty. She jumps off walls. She's just fun. I'm such a cat person. I actually have 2 cats. Russia is our playful cat, and Cabri is a Burman, and he's our lap cat. So yeah, this one's for Russia. And I decided to color her in just like the demo on the box. So she's got black hair and a red dress and black and white stockings. And she's, yeah, really pretty. I think she's one of the prettiest girls in the collection. I'm now grabbing some Nouveau, the white color. Gosh, I can't remember. But I'm just going to apply a little bit of dots to make it like polka white, so really pretty. And along her collar as well. I also decided to go back and just finish off her fringe. I kind of didn't like that her fringe was just, you know, incomplete there. I also put the little pink cheeks. Then I thought I put too much, so I diluted it, but it looks just right. And then I go back in here, just adjusting her hair. And I am going to grab my Nouveau once more, and I'm going to add two little, I guess, hair bobbies. Like, we used to have these hair bobbies in our hair that my mom used to, I don't know, torture us with. You know, the bobble ones that wrapped around each other and they flipped in your head if it was too tight. I don't know if you know which ones I'm talking about, but yeah, they're like the bane of my childhood. But so she's gonna get them now. So after this is dry, I'm going to fussy cut her out. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going to play around with how I'm going to get this background. So I've got my elements there. And I have this other die, which I haven't used yet. It's Tim Holtz mixed media dies. They're basically insets. They don't cut, they just cut out. And I didn't know if this was going to work. I pulled out some of my book because it was falling apart, so I tried to put it through my Sizzix. I thought I broke my machine, but it worked. It went through, and the fun thing is that on the other side it made it embossed or debossed, which was like 2 for 1 really. So I really love how that turned out. But because this book is not really a mixed media book, it's really flimsy, and so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some gesso just to sturdy up this page so that I can apply some kind of color without ruining, without the color ruining the actual book. We're at the back of the book now. We're almost at the end, and this book is really fragile. So I did grab my Tim Holtz Distress Crayons. This is the green color, and instead of adding water to mix it, I'm going to use white acrylic paint here, and I'm just going to smear that. And I love this color green. It's like a chartreuse kind of green. You can control the vibrancy of the green by adding more of your acrylic paint, the white acrylic paint, and I love it. It's exactly what I wanted here. On the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go half green and half blue, but the blue, I lose the blue, and I just decide to go ahead and keep it all green. And then once this is dry, I'm gonna go back in there with just the white acrylic paint and kind of like dry brush it on so that you've just got streaks of white, like faded white, in the background, just to give it a little bit more interest. And also the debossed side on the left hand side there, that will pick up some of the white that I'm gonna use and just add more interest to the page. So the right hand side has the cutout, and then the left hand side has that nice debossed pattern giving more texture. You can see a little bit of the blue there, so that looks really nice as well. So more green at the bottom because that's where the grass is, and kind of more whitish up at the top. So just playing now with the configuration of how I want everything. I really love how that looks. I'm so glad I did go ahead and try that mixed media at the top there. I love how there's just a chunk of paper missing there. It looks really good. So these are just going to be arranged in a nice formation. So I like how it's turned up here. Now all I'm doing is just adding some PVA glue to stick it down, and Ruby is on 3D foam tape, so she is propped up. So some of the flowers are going down below her. She also casts a little bit of shadow wherever the light is, so it's really interesting how she casts shadow down on the flowers around her. Now what I'm doing here, and it doesn't really show, but I'm using a product called CM Metallic, and it's just this nice shiny gold medium that I'm adding to the corners to give a little bit of, I guess, luster. It's not glitter, it's not, it's sort of metallic, but yeah, it just adds a really beautiful touch to the top and the sides of the book. Now I had this other piece of a 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper, and I love the sentiment at the very top there. It says cherish this moment, and it just seemed like I wanted to have that there. Number one, to sturdy the page, but also I loved the saying, so I put that behind there, so it's like a peekaboo behind. I really love that, and it also adds to the sentiment of, or the moment of her sitting with her cat, and she's just cherishing that moment. I also have this stamp set, which I ummed and ahed. I wasn't sure whether it was going to go. The page is lumpy, the acrylic paint is there. I had a feeling like it wasn't going to work, and I was right. It didn't really stamp all the way, but that's okay because I'm going to go ahead and fill it in once I'm done with the sentiment. At least the bulk, the outline of the word you is on there. It did go on perfectly on the note that I tried, on this piece of scratch paper that I tried. But yeah, I knew because the page was bulky and the debossed areas were there as well, I knew it wasn't going to take. But no worries. I also pull out my other script stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the word perfect with P-U-R-F-E-C-T, as in meow, perfect. So I like how this comes up here. I'm just filling in some of the letters that didn't exactly stamp perfectly, and then I'm going to pull out my black Tombow and I'm going to fill in the word you, and just like that, you don't have to worry that it didn't stamp so perfectly. So that's looking really good. I've got my sentiment down. I grabbed my Nouveau Clear, and I'm just going to add some dimension to all these wildflowers, and I'm also going to go ahead and add it to the word you. I also added some Winkostella to her hair and some of the cat. Now, I thought I was done here, but she looks like she's just floating in midair, and I wasn't happy with that. So I grabbed one of my other Tim Holtz dies. It's the Tattered Florals, the mini one, and I just cut up some of the branches and layered it up with a couple of different colors of brown alcohol marker, and just added a branch like sticking out from the side of the page, just so that it kind of, well, not grounded, but you know what I mean, made it look like she was hanging off a tree branch and not just hanging from midair out of nowhere, you know what I mean. So I'm just going ahead now and just adding 2 branches on top of each other, just to make it a little bit more natural. And then tucking them in behind her head because she is propped up on 3D foam tape. And while I was there, I thought, why not add just a little bit of flowers, like a cherry blossom maybe. So I added some of the Tattered flowers, and I grabbed my pink Nouveau crystal drops, and I added that to the top, and it looks really, really sweet, and it picks up some of the pink at the bottom of the wildflowers. So I think it actually turned out beautiful. I am so happy with this layout. I'm so glad that I got this in and done. I love everything about it. So cute. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I've got one more to do, which is the December layout. That's coming up next. I'm about to film that. So thanks for joining me, and yeah, I'll see you in my next layout, everybody. Have a lovely day.